Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel for another What's for Dinner video. If you're new, my name is Courtney and I do a lot of mom and homemaking related content on my channel. If that is something you like, go ahead and click that subscribe button and that bell so you can keep up with all of the videos I have coming your way. So today we're going to start off by making a little bit of honey butter for some bread. So I just took half a stick of butter and about 2 tablespoons of honey and mixed it together really well and set it to the side. If your butter is, like fresh from the fridge and it's super hard like mine was, I popped it in the microwave for like 20 seconds, whipped it all up, not a big deal. And then I have some of this Cheesecake Factory bread, and I decided that was going to be perfect just to dress it up with the honey butter, so it's not just plain buttered bread for dinner. So anyway, I am just slicing that on the diagonal just to make it a little prettier, rolling it up in some foil, and I will just put that in my oven on a low heat, like 150, 200 degrees, the whole time I'm cooking everything else. All right, so let's work on the other side for dinner. We're going to make some green beans. I have actually made these before on my channel. My family adores these. So I started off by putting a little bit of water into my pot, and I added in about a tablespoon of chopped garlic, and then I tossed in about 1 tablespoon of soy sauce and 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, and then about 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. We're just going to kind of stir that all together. And we're also going to add in a little bit of crumbled bacon. You could do fresh. I just have the stuff that you keep in the fridge, the real bacon pieces. So I tossed that all in, let it saute for a few minutes, and then I threw in 2 little pads of butter. I don't think it was quite 2 tablespoons, but just some butter. And then I'm going to pour in 2 cans of green beans. I'm going to stir this all together, put the lid on it, and then turn the heat off for a little while. I will turn it back on when it's getting close to time to serve these, but this kind of gives them just a little bit of time to marinate in that sauce and absorb a whole bunch of that flavor. It makes them super delicious this way. All right, so that's off to the side. We're going to come over here and work on some pork chops. So I don't fry very often on my channel, but I'm going to today. So I took a little bit of flour, that's not even half a cup, and I put it on a plate. And then I have got 2 eggs and just a splash of that cream because that's all I had. Just kind of whisking it together just to make, the liquid part of our fry batter. Okay, we're going to go ahead and also toss in just a little bit of Worcestershire sauce to add a little extra flavor to that. Like when I'm doing chicken, I'll throw in like Frank's Red Hot sauce or something like that. It just really helps elevate the flavor of whatever you're frying. It makes it really delicious. But for things like pork chops, or if I was doing, chicken fried steak, I would do Worcestershire sauce just to kick up that beefy flavor. And then on the plate at the very end, I did pour out breadcrumbs. That's going to be the last of our coating. Super important. That's really what makes this kind of like that German flair to these fried pork chops, which is what I am going for. I'm trying to recreate something we had on vacation. So I have some wafer thin sliced pork chops. Of course, you can use whatever you want. This is what I chose. I prefer the thin ones. They're just easier to work with, easier to cook, and they just kind of come out all around better. But I've taken them out and I've laid them on this plate, and we're going to season them. That is Kinder's Master Seasoning. It's like salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And then I'm going to put paprika. Normally I use smoked paprika on my channel, but today I have regular paprika, not smoked. So I just kind of patted that seasoning onto the pork chops. And then I am flipping them over because we don't have one-sided food. We want to season both sides of everything that we eat. So again, with the master seasoning, and then we're going to hit it with some of that paprika. And then it's time to start battering. So I think you guys all know how to do this. I did try to do this with my tongs just to keep it a little neater because I hate when my hands get all, like club fingers from dipping them in the batter, but it just wasn't working out. So I started off by dipping the pork chops in the flour, then onto our egg mixture, and then into the breadcrumb mixture. Make sure they are nice and coated, like super coated. And then we're just going to set them off to the side. You will notice in the background that I do have my oil heating up. We want it waiting for us. We don't want to have to wait for it. I do want the pork chops to have a few minutes to sit with the coating on them, but not a long time. So I've got that oil getting ready for us. And we're just going to keep doing this. I have 5 pork chops, so I'm just going to kind of go through and coat each and every one of these.
I've been feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone
it is fry time. I'm just going to take these and drop these in that hot oil. And it doesn't take long because these are like wafer thin. So I did them for about 1 to 2 minutes on each side, just so they got nice and golden and delicious. And then I just set them on a cooling rack to dry. I didn't want them sitting in oil or anything. I put them elevated just a little bit so that they would stay nice and super crispy and delicious.
Through my cigarette, city lights looking fine, and I know this is my time now. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. I just wanna feel alive. It's just what I do when I'm out, so try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at these beautiful stars, I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at these beautiful stars, I wanna take a trip to Mars. Nothing can break me, no, nothing can break me. Look at these beautiful stars, I wanna drive a faster car. I'm gonna be myself, I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna be myself.
Okay, and here's the thing that really sets this apart. When we were in Fredericksburg, they served this with like a paprika gravy. So I took just a little bit of my oil from frying the pork chops and added in just a little bit of flour. And then I'm whisking that together and letting it cook for a minute so it cooks out that flour taste, because nobody wants that. It's kind of like a pasty taste. You really want to let it cook for just, 1 to 2 minutes. We don't want to burn this. We just want to let it cook a little bit. Then I'm going to add in some water. And I'm going to whisk carefully as I add it in batches. This just helps keep it from clumping up and seizing on you. We want this to thicken, but we don't want like big clumps and chunks in it. We want to keep it smooth and creamy. And then I'm going to add in some beef base. Instead of adding water, you could just do beef broth. I didn't have that. I always just do like chicken and beef base. So that's what I did this time. I added in my base and just a little bit more water because I felt like the sauce had tightened up just a little more than I wanted. And then the last thing I'm going to do is toss in a tablespoon of paprika. This is really what makes this gravy. I think I do actually toss in a little bit of pepper as well. You can season with other things if you choose. Now, I was using that beef base, which is super, super salty. So I'm not going to put any extra salt in here because it's just too much. But pepper does go a long way to bring a little extra flavor. And that is all there is to this dish. There it is. I kept the gravy in a little dish to keep everything from getting like, soggy and yucky. But there it is. It was so good and so delicious and such an awesome meal. We loved this one. Okay, so our next meal, I decided that we were going to have fish tacos. A couple of weeks ago, if you watch my grocery hauls, I did pick up this marinated chunked salmon. It was just boneless chunks of salmon, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, but it was a great price, and I knew I would do something. It had been chilling in my freezer, and I pulled it out for this particular dish. I was kind of going back and forth between some kind of like Asian bowl or fish tacos, and I finally settled on fish tacos. I don't know what the marinade was on this fish, and quite honestly, it really didn't have much flavor, so I don't think it really matters. But it did pair beautifully for these tacos. It was really, really tasty. So the first thing I decided I needed was some kind of filling. Yeah, you can go with lettuce and tomato like a traditional taco if you want, but I had picked up this clearance chopped salad at the grocery store. And of course, it says chopped salad on the bag. I always think these are like a little bit more like a coleslaw mix. There is a little bit of lettuce in them, but there's two different kinds of cabbage and there's carrots. And it just reminds me a whole lot of a coleslaw and less of a salad. So I decided that was going to be the perfect, nice, green, crispy topping for our fish tacos. But I didn't want to use the dressing that came with it. I knew I wanted to make something that was going to suit our fish a little bit better. So I just got a little bit creative. So I'm going to start off by making like a coleslaw base, really. So the first thing I put in the bowl was a little bit of sour cream to keep it nice and rich and creamy, and then a little bit of mayonnaise just for some added flavor. I'm going to whip that all together, and make sure that it's incorporated well. And then we're going to add some lime juice. And I went pretty heavy with it, 2 to 3 tablespoons if you don't want that much. You could always go lighter. This not only thins out the sauce, but it adds this beautiful little kind of zing at the end of every bite that I think pairs beautifully with fish and, like tacos and stuff like that in general. Went in, tasted, and made sure that it had enough lime juice, and surprise, I didn't think it did. So I added in some more. Like I said, I get pretty heavy-handed on the citrus. I do like that little citrus bite at the end. And now we're going to add some honey. That's about a tablespoon or so. You just want that little hint of sweetness at the end. You don't want it to be too sour, but you do want that citrus taste. I went ahead and mixed that in because honey is a little hard to mix into cold ingredients. But now we're going to toss in a little bit of dried parsley. You could do any kind of fresh herb that you want. I didn't have any fresh herbs, so I went with dried parsley. And then I'm going to get really heavy-handed with some garlic and some onion powder and some dried dill because I just love the flavor of dried dill. I think it's fantastic. So, like I said, really heavy-handed. You could go lighter if you wanted to. I did toss in a little bit of cumin for that rich smoky flavor that it brings. And of course, some smoked paprika just because I thought it would round everything out nicely. And then I decided it did need like a little bit of a bite. So I threw in some crushed red pepper flakes. Not too many, maybe about half a teaspoon. It was enough to add a little something to it. But, it wasn't hot or anything like that. So then I went ahead and mixed everything together really, really, really well. And of course, you want to taste at this point and make sure that this is the way you want it. I did add in a little bit of salt because it was lacking something. There was like a flatness to it, and that salt helped round it out quite a bit. And like I said, if you need to adjust things, now is the time. I did want it a little bit sweeter. I added in about another tablespoon of honey just because I felt like it needed that. And I'm going to add in a little bit more red pepper flake because it wasn't quite enough heat. I just wanted a little bite on it. But anyway, go ahead and mix that all together. You want to do this first so that your slaw has plenty of time to sit in that dressing. I think it took about 20 minutes for everything else to come together. So this had 20 minutes to kind of sit and marinate in that dressing and do what it is the coleslaw does. It just kind of soaks up the flavor. It makes the cabbage a little bit softer, but keeps it crispy. It just does the coleslaw thing. So I made sure it had plenty of time for that. Now here's the fish. Like I said, it's marinated and seasoned. If you can't get this, that's not a big deal. Just get some regular salmon. And quite frankly, I have done this before with just putting some blackening season on it. Just go to your spice section at your grocery store, get some blackening seasoning, a little bit of lemon juice, and that tastes really, really good if you're trying to make fish tacos with salmon. That flavor combination is perfect. It just brings a lot, to every bite. And like I said, this was pre-seasoned and I don't know what was on it. It really just didn't have much flavor, but I mean, it was salmon, so it was fine. It tasted great anyway. I'm not complaining. And we had it paired with that beautiful sauce, so there was tons of flavor going on anyway. Now, the thing you do want to be cautious about when you're cooking salmon is not to overcook it. Mine was in these small chunks, so I was really cautious. I checked it at 8 minutes, and I think I pulled it out just at about the 10-minute mark because I didn't want these pieces to overcook at all. If you're doing salmon planks, of course, you can let them go to 12 to 15 minutes, but you definitely want to pull them before they are overcooked. And that's what it looked like. Just some tortillas with the slaw on top and the salmon. I made a little guacamole, which I've made before on my channel. I'll link the video for that down below. All right, so on to the next meal. We're going to have some green chili enchiladas. This is definitely a family favorite around here. We really do like our Tex-Mex food, and we really love the flavor of green chilies. So I started this off by cooking a lot of ground beef. So my oldest son, Xander, does not like cheese, so he does not usually eat enchiladas. Sometimes I will make him some without any cheese on them, just the sauce and the tortilla and the meat. And sometimes I just make a big batch of enchiladas with extra taco meat on the side, and he can go to town eating some tacos. That is what I decided to do on this particular night. So I started off cooking my ground beef. It was still a little bit frozen in the center. It hadn't quite thawed, but that's okay. I threw it in here and just kind of, kept crumbling it and cooking it until it was completely done. And I am pretty minimal when I season this meat. I toss in a few things, but that's it. Not a whole ton of stuff. I really like for the enchilada sauce to really carry the dish as far as flavor goes. But first off, let's get this ground beef cooked.
I could be wrapped around your arms instead of being lonely. We could be gazing at the stars, but now it feels just like I wandered off into a room and closed the door behind me. I never gave the key to you. even though I wanted to. I should be trying something new, but now my body's aching. I'm tired of dwelling in the dark, it's just that my heart can't take it. I didn't know what it would cost me when I let you go. I feel alone, and I'm just singing, It should have been you. Another time, another place, I just know it could have been you. What a crime and what a shame to let go.
All right, like I said, I do keep it pretty simple with that ground beef. I tossed in half a diced onion, about a tablespoon of minced garlic, salt, pepper, and chili powder, and that is it. So let's move on to these tortillas. I put just a little bit of oil in the bottom of a skillet. We're just going to soften these. We're going to fry them for just a few seconds on each side. It really is super fast. Don't walk away. Don't take your eyes off of it. You don't want these to get hard. So I just toss them in there and make sure that they are submerged in the oil. And I will flip them over one time and I pull them out. I think for each one, we're talking a 30 to 45 second cook time in total. It happens so fast. I did a total of 15 tortillas because that seemed like a really good amount for my casserole dish. So there's the sauce I use. It is that Hatch green chili enchilada sauce with roasted garlic. This is my favorite. I highly recommend it. If you can find it, go ahead and buy it. I think it tastes way better than all the other green chili enchilada sauces on the market. It is so, so good. So I like to start off by going ahead and putting a little bit of this in the bottom of my casserole dish. This just helps keep the enchiladas from sticking to the bottom of the pan when they bake. You know, sometimes the bottom of the oven gets a little bit hotter, and those tortillas do have a tendency to, get crispy and yucky and stick. So this is just the perfect thing. You don't have to grease your casserole dish. Just put a little bit of this on the bottom, no big deal, and this will work fine. So once that is done, we want to move on to making our enchiladas. As you can see, I'm using pre-shredded cheese from the store, which I really don't normally recommend. I would say shred your own. It's just better melting quality that way. But I know I was going to be in a rush this week, and I was, and so I got this. So I put a little bit of beef on the tortilla. I spoon a little bit of that enchilada sauce and a little bit of cheese. Less is more in this scenario. I know it feels like it might not be enough, but trust me, it's good. And then we roll it nice and tight, seam side down in the bottom of the casserole dish. And I'm just going to do this for each of the enchiladas that I have made until they are all filled and rolled, and I am out of tortillas.
Tonight we're running on the right track. I know we never gonna look back. Oh, I just wanna have a good time. Call me whatever, 'cause I'm up for anything like that. Oh no, we don't wanna do slow-mo, so tonight we just let go. To the beat in the street, every freak out singing like. You're told, but I don't mind even though I lose control. Oh, I just wanna have a good time, so call me whenever, 'cause a night like this, it never gets old. Oh no, we don't wanna do slow-mo, so tonight we just let go. To the beat in the street, every freak out singing like.
All right, now all of the enchiladas are rolled, so I'm going to start spooning some sauce over the top. As you can see, I am very careful to make sure that the edges of each enchilada get coated in sauce. These have a tendency to burn and get hard and get nasty, so I want to be super, super careful and make sure that they are all coated in sauce. And then I will go over like the main part of the enchilada and coat each and every one. There should be plenty of sauce in this can for a light coating on every enchilada with no issues. I always have plenty and it's never been a real big problem. I don't drown them though. I mean, there's a lot of sauce on there, but it's not swimming, it's not soupy, none of that. And then you coat the top with cheese. You can do this to your liking. I went a little heavy on the cheese because we like them cheesy. If you're not as big into cheese, you don't have to put as much on there. You don't have to put any at all if you don't want to, but I mean, it makes it super delicious. Who doesn't love cheese? So go ahead and put that shredded cheese on top of these. And like I said, I was a little heavy handed, and that's okay. I don't feel bad about it at all. It was super tasty, super delicious. And these guys are going to bake 350 degrees for about 30 to 45 minutes until the cheese is melty and bubbly. So I'm going to make some Spanish rice. I have a cup of rice, a cup and a half of water. I put in about 2 teaspoons of that tomato bouillon, and then I sprinkled in some onion powder. If you have more time, chop up a fresh onion, it's much better. Then I put in about a tablespoon of chili powder. And then I'm going to put in some rice wine vinegar, just 1 tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half today. And then a little bit of fresh minced garlic, because I did have that in my fridge, and that makes it taste good. And then we're going to put in about 3 tablespoons of this tomato paste. And you want to stir really well to get that tomato paste all incorporated in the rice. You don't want it to be clumpy or chunky or anything. And then I just cook this on high pressure for about 6 minutes, and I do a release myself, stir it up, and it's good to go. It's simple, it's quick, and it's easy, and there's our dinner. And I also served it with some refried beans on the side, just like you'd get if you went out to a Mexican food restaurant. It was yummy. So for our last meal, we're going to make some Asian ribs served over fried rice. I really didn't have anything planned out, so I'm just winging it and throwing it together. But I've got some soy sauce in the bottom of that pan, a couple of tablespoons, about 2, and then I put about 2 tablespoons of hoisin sauce in the bottom of there. It was what was left in my bottle. I might have got a little more in there if I had some more, but that was what there was. Then I'm going to go ahead and toss in some gochujang. This is one of our favorites. It's like a sweet chili paste. It's sweet, it's spicy, it's awesome. I did about a tablespoon of that. And then I'm going to throw in some rice wine vinegar. I did about a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half. And we're going to throw in some onion powder. If you have fresh diced onion, that's great too. I just used the powder. I didn't feel like having to chop anything up. And then we're going to throw in some honey. I am doing about 3 tablespoons of honey just because I wanted these to be kind of sweet. Whenever you go get like Asian ribs and things like that, it usually is a little sweet and sticky. So I did go a little bit heavy with the honey, and that is okay. It makes it taste super good. And I'm going to throw in some of this beef base just for some extra beefy flavor, just like a heavier seasoning, a little umami kick, and a little bit of ground ginger, just because it sounded like it would be the perfect pairing for all of this. And then, of course, I have my minced garlic that I keep in my fridge at all times. I'm going to go ahead and toss that in. And I was pretty heavy-handed with it just because I like a lot of garlic on stuff. And I'm going to stir this all together really, really well. If there's anything else you want to add, of course, feel free. I'm just winging the sauce. I was making it up as I went. I really just wanted something that had kind of an Asian flavor to it, and I was going to cook these ribs in it. So if you guys have something extra you want to add in there or something you think would be fantastic, knock yourself out, get creative in the kitchen, have a good time. That's what I like to do. And I just kind of make things up, and a lot of times it turns out perfectly because you know what you like. You know what flavor combinations you really enjoy. But as you can see, this did make a nice little sauce. There's not a ton of it. We don't need a ton of it. I'm doing this on the slow cooker setting in here. So the meat is going to release a ton of juices as it cooks. And there are my boneless beef ribs. These were okay. This is just what I had in the deep freeze. I really would have preferred something else. These were on top, so I grabbed them. They were all right. They cooked okay. These are not my favorite cut of ribs by far. I picked them up because they were on clearance one day. And every time I do it, I always think, why did I do that? Because they don't ever cook the way I want them to. But it is what it is. So I went ahead and stirred them up and got the sauce all over them. And then I let that slow cook all day long. So let's make some fried rice that will go underneath these saucy, sticky Asian ribs. I started off by using some leftover rice. Actually, I cooked it the day before, so it was ready to go in my fridge. And then I diced up half an onion, and I am putting it in some bacon grease. I happen to have some in my fridge because I made bacon the other day, and I saved my grease and I use it when I'm cooking. And I still happen to have some left, and it was the perfect thing to fry these onions in. So I went ahead and just sauteed them for a little while, let them get, translucent and soft, the whole bit, the drill. And then I'm also going to go ahead and toss in some frozen peas and carrots. I buy these. I keep them in my freezer all the time. They're great for casseroles. They're great for fried rice, all kinds of stuff. They're super cheap. I think they're like 84 cents at Walmart. So it pays to have them on hand at all times so you can throw together any kind of meal. I'm also going to throw in some garlic, and then I will toss in my day-old rice and some soy sauce and some hoisin sauce. And oh, also, of course, scrambled egg. You do it to your liking. I did like 4 eggs. We like eggs. If you like more, go ahead and do more. If you like less, you don't have to put any in at all. Just kind of fry it all together and you've got fried rice.
We've been on and off again and again. I don't know which way we're going, no control. You push me, then you pull me back in. Don't know if I can decipher how your mind works. Yeah, you leave me wondering what it's like to feel your skin. I will keep on trying till you give me a sign. Give me a sign. Oh, give me a sign. Baby, give me a sign. Just give me one more. You leave me hanging, begging for more. Think that I'm addicted to this, can't resist to be a little risky and go for it, cause I want you close. I'm so exposed when you're keeping me wondering. You know I'd do anything to be in your arms again. So give me a sign. Give me a sign. Oh, give me a sign. Baby, give me a sign. Just give me one more, talking to you. And here we go again, staying up all night to see if you've been texting me. Where do we go from here? I wanna go all in. So give me a sign. Give me a sign.
And there's that rice. It comes together beautifully. It's so tasty, so delicious, so quick, and so easy. This meal was really, really good. You can throw any kind of Asian meat you want on top. Chicken, beef, it doesn't really matter. It tastes great when you throw it on top of fried rice. Everything tastes good on fried rice. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for my What's for Dinner video for this week. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. I hope you'll try some of these recipes. They were so good and so tasty. And these meals this week were super simple, super easy, super quick. You know, even the crock pot meals didn't take very long to throw together. So I hope you guys will try these. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. And I will see you guys really soon with another fun video. Bye for now.